We are live. Thank you all very much for tuning in today. Today, we really do have quite a phenomenal show. Today, we really have some phenomenal news. And so we're going to do things a little bit differently today. I just want to kind of cut the intro and just get right into it. So first and foremost, I want to say thank you all very much for tuning in. Please make sure to subscribe and like today's broadcast. We are live both on Rumble, Matt Morris TV, and on YouTube, Matt Morris TV. Thank you everyone for tuning in today. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to jump right into the news. Today is going to be real punchy and to the point, and I think you're going to like today's show. So really to kick things off, guys, today we got some bombshell news. The Democratic Party's national favorability rating has fallen to an all-time record low. The Democratic Party's favorability rating has dropped to 34% according to this brand new Gallup poll, the lowest level ever recorded in Gallup's trend since the survey began tracking this data in 1992. That is what, over 30 years ago. That's insane. This brand new Gallup survey shows Americans' favorable view of the Democratic Party has fallen to 34%, marking the lowest rating in the poll's history. Not good for the Democrats. We have a lot of very bad news for the Democrats today, folks. We have a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about the approval rating first, but bear with me here. Like I said, I think you guys are going to like today's broadcast. Gallup's historical trend data shows Democratic Party favorability generally ranging between the high 40s and up to 60% through the 1990s and the early 2000s. The measure has since trended lower, with notable drops in the mid-2010s and the early 2020s, falling from around 54% in the early 1990s to 34% today. Does anybody here have a longtime Democrat friend or family member or coworker who is kind of realizing? I've got family members that are like this. You guys know I'm from the Portland, Oregon area. Pretty much everybody I know in my real life is a Democrat. A lot of them are progressives, people that I know, family members of mine. And things have gotten so bad. The Progressive Party, the Democrat Party, has gotten so insanely, egregiously, incompetently progressive that I've started having Democrats in my real life that I know. They're saying, listen, Matt, what has happened to my party? My party, the Democrat Party, has gotten insane. This is not the party I was voting for in 1995. And I tell them, yeah, I know. The Democrat Party has gotten insane. The Democrat Party of 2025 is nothing like it was in 1995 or even 2005 or hell, even 2015. Over the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years, I don't know, starting in 2015, 2016, around there, that's when I started noticing this. They just went off of the crazy cliff. Now, the new numbers come amid a series of other national polls showing Democrats facing challenges with key voting blocks and on major policy issues. Guys, I saw another little tidbit, little data point the other day. It said 84% of white men, that's me, that's a lot of you guys, 84% of white men in this country are voting for Republicans. That means only in what's the inverse there, 16% of white men in the country are Democrat voters. Okay, why? We're talking about the Democrat Party alienating voters, alienating key voting blocks over the last couple of years. Well, what has been the narrative or the rhetoric from the progressive left as it relates to white men? White men are evil. White men are inherently racist. White men are the problem of every single bad thing in our society. White men are, you're all Nazis, you're all racists, you're all fascists, blah, 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 whatever. You guys have heard it. We've all heard it. And so, yeah, listen, white men are like probably 25% of this country, maybe 27% of the country is, guess what? White men. If you're alienating white men, yeah, you're going to lose. Okay, let's keep on going here, at least for the time being. Now, the new numbers come amid a series of other national polls showing that Democrats are facing challenges with key voting blocks on a majority of policy issues. An Associated Press poll in July last month found that more than 1 in 3 Democrats described their own party as, quote, weak and, quote, ineffective in countering President Donald Trump's administration. A Unite the Country Super PAC survey reported by The Hill in July, 1 month ago, also found party support falling below 35% among Hispanic men and working class voters in battleground states. If you're a blue collar, working class American, middle income American, that's almost all of us here, what the hell do you have to gain by voting for the Democratic Party? If you're a working class, blue collar, hardworking, tax paying, family man, family woman American, if you vote for the Democrats, you know that they are going to try to replace you with illegal aliens, with illegal immigrants from the third world. And if they have the opportunity, they're going to ship your job over to China, where a bunch of Chinese slave laborers are going to do your job for 35 cents on the hour, and then you're not going to have a job anymore, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All of these terrible things. Yeah, listen. Much to the dismay of the Democratic Party, blue-collar, hardworking, working-class, middle-income Americans, we're not stupid. We're not dumb. We know what is going on. The jig is up. We are not buying their baloney. We're not buying their baloney anymore. Let's keep reading here. Other recent polling has shown congressional Democrats registering low job approval ratings and lagging behind Republicans on issues such as inflation, wow, big surprise, immigration, big surprise, and foreign policy, big surprise. Quinnipiac University survey in July, a month ago, measured, check this out, listen carefully, folks. Quinnipiac University survey, this is a well-trusted poll. People are always citing and referencing the Quinnipiac poll. About a month ago, they measured a 19% approval rating for the congressional Democrats. Also a record low in that specific poll's history. So we've got one poll saying 35%, one poll saying 34%. Quinnipiac poll says 19%. This is, this is not good for the Democrats. There's no way to put this. Matt, I see a massive super chat. Hey, nice name. I appreciate that super chat, Matt. Thank you very much. I want to open up my Rumble chat here. Okay, I got Rumble chat and YouTube chat. Everybody, once again, thank you all very much for tuning in. If you are new, please make sure to subscribe on Rumble, Matt Morris TV, YouTube, Matt Morris TV as well. We're on Twitter or X, Matt Morris TV. Follow it all. In fact, follow me everywhere except for real life, okay? Leave me alone in real life. Let's keep on reading here. Gallup's data, collected over decades, underscores a long-term downward trend for the Democratic Party's image amongst the American public, with the latest figure setting a new benchmark in that decline. Wow. And I mean, for all of us that have been paying attention here, it's not exactly hard to imagine why nobody wants to support the Democrats anymore. They have allowed their party to be completely hijacked by, I think a lot of people, when they use the word communist, they use it kind of hyperbolically, but their party has been hijacked by communists. Like, literally, that is what has happened. When you have openly, publicly self-avowed communists like Mamdani, the New York City Democrat mayoral candidate, who's a Ugandan immigrant who hates white people, who wants to push communist political policies on the streets of New York, like, they have a problem. This is a problem. And it's going to be very curious to see where the party goes, where the Democratic Party goes. But right now, things are not looking good. Now, folks, as the Democrats continue to lose support from everyday Americans, that's us, across the entire country, across the entire nation, they are also losing congressional House seats on top of that. In fact, take a look at this. This is some breaking bombshell news that came out just a couple hours ago earlier today. Breaking news. The Texas Senate has officially passed the new U.S. housing maps, the new voting districts in the state of Texas. The Democrats have stormed out of the chamber. The Democrats are big mad. Now all it needs is House approval. So in the Texas State Senate, this got passed. This is the new map. They are storming out of the Senate chambers earlier today. There go the Democrats. They are pissed off. wah, wah. That's what it's like to lose. That's what it's like when your anti-American, anti-white communist plan fails. And by the way, what was their plan? Their plan was to once again replace all of us actual American citizens with a bunch of third world illegal aliens. They realized that they can't win the free and fair competition of democracy, of trying to get people to vote for their incompetent policies. And so they said, man, well, it seems like Americans don't really like all of our radically progressive policies. What are we going to do? Are we going to moderate our position? Are we going to try to, you know, get our policy back on track here? No. We're going to become more progressive. In fact, we're going to open up the southern border, and we're just going to import tens of millions of new third world illegal alien voters from Guatemala and from Venezuela and from God knows where else. Okay, that was their plan, to just replace people like me and to replace people like you, because they knew that people like me and people like you are never going to vote for their radically progressive, incompetent, communist, anti-American policies. And so now it seems like in the state of Texas, the Democrats are about to lose 5 seats in the U.S. House of Representatives. But folks, keep in mind, not only are the Democrats about to lose 5 congressional House seats coming out of Texas, but this also means that the Republicans are going to gain 5 seats in the House, because for every 1 seat the Democrats lose, a Republican gains it, right? So very quickly, this, you say, oh, it's a 5-point margin. It's a 5-seat margin. No. Got to look at it. Listen, this is real. It's not a 5-seat margin. It quickly becomes a 10-seat margin, because it's -5 plus 5, right? You have a pretty big gap. That's a big gap. So this is a big deal. Now, obviously, like I was saying a moment ago, because the Democrats can't actually win over the American people with their insane and incompetent and anti-white and and racist and communist policies, anti-American policies, their plan was just to open up the border and import tens of millions of illegal aliens. Once again, why? To replace me and to replace you with a bunch of third world illegal aliens from Guatemala or whatever, from Ecuador, who God knows who, from where. So that being said, however, that's not the end of the bad news that the Democrats got today. Today really has been a very bad day for the Democrats. They're losing. Their national approval ratings are the lowest they've ever been, ever in all of recorded American history. They're having their congressional House seats. They're losing representation in the House. But also, we get a video from Carolyn Leavitt earlier today, who's the White House press secretary, and she has to say this. Take a look.
The Trump administration continues to shatter records on border security. According to brand new numbers released this morning from Customs and Border Patrol, illegal crossings have fallen to all-time lows once again.
0.
Here were the records set in July. Again, these numbers were released this morning. The lowest monthly nationwide encounters ever, down nearly 90% from the monthly average under the Biden administration. The lowest monthly Border Patrol apprehensions nationwide.
I have to say, guys, I remember a year ago and a year and a half ago, who remembers all of the gaslighting about this bipartisan border bill? The only way to shut down the border, we have to pass this bipartisan border bill. And the evil Donald Trump is telling all of his Republican underlings to not vote for the border bill because Donald Trump secretly wants the border to be open. He wants the border to be open. Guess what? Well. That was a crock of baloney. That was a big crock pot full of baloney now, wasn't it?
Wide ever, smashing the previous record set the prior month in June. The lowest monthly southwest border apprehensions ever. The lowest daily apprehension average ever. The lowest single-day apprehensions ever. And for the third straight month, there were 0 illegal aliens released into the country. Let me
0. Wow, 3 months in a row. Curious.
repeat that remarkable
It's almost like all they had to do was implement and enforce the already existing immigration legislation that we already have. They just weren't doing that.
Statistic. For the third month in a row, not a single illegal alien was released by the Trump administration into the United States of America. This is historic. Under President Trump, this border is the most secure it has ever been. When you fortify the border, when you restore deterrence, and when you empower Border Patrol agents and our brave men and women in uniform to actually do their jobs to enforce our laws, like this president has, this is the incredible result. And in the interior of our country, criminal illegal aliens continue to be arrested and
That's
removed.
right. That's
Here
right.
are some of the criminals arrested by ICE in just the last few days.
Let's take a look at
ICE
them.
Buffalo arrested an illegal alien from Jamaica convicted of attempted murder.
Wow.
ICE Buffalo also arrested an illegal alien from Ecuador convicted of leaving the scene of an accident resulting in death.
Really?
ICE Houston arrested an illegal alien from Mexico convicted of manslaughter.
Huh.
ICE Newark arrested an illegal alien from Mexico convicted of the sexual assault of a minor.
Oh.
ICE Dallas arrested an illegal alien from Mexico convicted of assault causing bodily injury. And already the Trump administration has arrested more than 300,000 illegal aliens in 2025. Again, more than 300.
They have arrested more than 300,000 illegal aliens in 2025. Folks, you might have noticed the title of today's broadcast, 1.6 million have disappeared. We're going to talk about that number here in just a moment. Bear with me, ladies and gentlemen.
1,000 illegal alien criminals have been arrested in the interior of our country in the first 6 months of this administration. And despite many false reports in the media, nearly 70% of these arrests have been criminal aliens with criminal charges or prior convictions.
You know, here's the thing. I understand the delineation that she's making. They are criminal illegal aliens. We all know what she means, but it is important to remember, you know, all of them are criminals. All of them are. Just by nature of having, illegally entered our country, all of them, every single one of them need to go. All of them are here illegally. All of them are criminals. Terminologically, definitively, all of them are. Now, hold up. Bamboozled over on Rumble just gifted 10 massive community subscriptions in the Rumble chat. I want to say thank you very much. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Once again, thank you for tuning in. Bamboozled understands all of them have to go. How many do we have in the country? 50 million in total? Keep in mind, they say 20 to 25 million, somewhere in there, came in the country during Biden's 4-year-long presidential term, illegitimate presidential term. So if we had 20 to 25 million of them come in the country in 4 years alone, how many do we have total? Keep in mind, we've been having this problem, illegal aliens coming in and out of the country, predominant just in the country and staying. That's the problem. This has been happening for decades. Guys, we have illegal aliens that have been here living in this country for like 40 or 50 years. This is a problem. They've just been skirting under the radar. So experts say 50 million. That is a lot. We're just getting started. Now, this is what I wanted to share with you guys. The border is now completely secure, which back to the point that I was making maybe 5 minutes ago. This means that the Democrats are now incapable of importing any more of their beloved illegal aliens with which they wanted to replace people like you and me. But also, on top of that, President Trump's remigration program, remigration means we are getting rid of them, sending them back to wherever the hell they came from, is working insanely well so far. And I want to break that down with you guys. The mainstream media has actually caught up to something that I have been saying here on my channel on YouTube and Rumble for weeks now. Finally, the mainstream media is caught up. So guys, I want to say, I got to take some credit. You guys heard it here first weeks ago. We're going to talk about it again today. Guess what? Bombshell news coming out of Breitbart. The golden age. President Trump has successfully cut illegal alien population by an astonishing 1.6 million people since taking office. Like I said, this is something we've been talking about here for at least 2 weeks, almost 3 weeks now. And now the mainstream media is picking up the story. So, hey, listen, if you really want the most current breaking news on the ground, raw facts, you got to subscribe. You got to like the content. Please make sure. I appreciate it, folks. Thank you very much. Take a look at this. This is huge. President Donald Trump's administration has reduced the nation's illegal alien population by how many? 1.6 million people in the last 6 months alone. And Lions Roar in the Rumble chat is so happy about this. He just donated $50. Lions Roar. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. We say fight, 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 and that's what's happening. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Check this out. That means a lot. Thank you very much. 1.6 million illegal aliens in the last 6 months, likely through intense interior immigration enforcement. And this data is coming from the Center for Immigration Studies, the CIS. In an analysis of Bureau of Labor Statistics data, the Center for Immigration Studies researchers Stephen Camarota and Karen Ziegler found that between January and July of 2025, this year, over the last 6 months, Trump has overseen an absolutely, unprecedented 2.2 million person decline in the nation's total foreign-born population, 1.6 million of whom are illegal aliens. So for all of the people that are saying, oh, not enough deportations, oh, Trump is not fulfilling his campaign promise to get rid of the illegal aliens, he's barely even getting rid of anybody, blah, blah, blah. Listen, we have data now. We have the concrete confirmation. You cannot have a more concrete confirmation than this. This is Bureau of Labor Statistics, which is a left-leaning organization, by the way. It's controlled by the far left. Everybody knows. And then now it's corroborated, it's interpreted and corroborated by the Center for Immigration Studies. We are getting these people out of the country. Now, folks, I think some of you guys might be saying, oh, 1.6 million in the last 6 months. Oh, that's not a big deal. Who cares? I want to really hammer home. Let me give you one reason out of maybe 100 reasons why this is a big deal. Just one little example here. Let's say that only 1% of these illegal aliens, we've got 1.6 million now, are gone. Let's say that 1% of them are voting for the Democrats in our elections across the country. 1%. I think that number is low, on the low side, but you know what? Let's be conservative here. We are all conservative, so let's be a little bit conservative here. Let's say 1% of these 1.6 million illegal aliens are voting for the Democrats. What does that mean? That means that by getting rid of 1.6 million illegal aliens in the last 6 months, President Trump has effectively gotten rid of 16,000 active illegal alien Democrat voters. Okay, who cares? Big deal. So what? Well, guess what? It is a big deal. I did some research here. I want to break something down for you guys. Maybe that doesn't seem like a lot, but check this out. I did some research. In the last 10 years alone, across the entire country, the Democrats have actually been able to secure 2 seats in the Senate and 4 seats in the House with voter margins that were smaller than 16,000 votes. So before you say 16,000 votes, if only 1% of them are, guys, listen, this is a big deal. If we never had any illegal aliens in the country, the Democrats right this very moment would have -2 Senate seats and -4 seats in the House. And once again, we are just getting going. This is just the beginning. We passed the big, beautiful bill on the 4th of July 5 weeks ago. Now we have the budget. We're picking up the speed. We're just getting going. Let's keep reading here. Now, analysis of the current population survey data shows the total foreign-born population of all ages, both in and out of the labor force, declined an unprecedented 2.2 million from January to July, the largest 6-month decline ever within the same year. The researchers go on to write, non-citizens accounted for all of the fall-off in total foreign-born labor. The naturalized U.S. citizen population has actually increased. So what does this mean? Illegal alien workers are out, they are gone. And then what this means on top of that is that American citizen workers, we are getting jobs. The jobs are being picked up and taken over by actual hardworking American citizens. We preliminarily estimate that the illegal immigration population declined an astonishing 1.6 million. They're saying 10%. That's a 10% decrease. I think it's a little bit smaller because we have more illegal aliens than that, I think. So we're minus 1.6, which they're saying leaves us with 14.2 million illegal aliens still in the country, which means we still have our work cut out for us. We got to keep on going. The analysis comes as recent jobs data showed that all employment gains in recent months are going to native-born Americans rather than foreign-born workers. This is what I voted for. While they said, quote, while employers may be unhappy with a decline of illegal immigrant workers, reducing the supply of labor is likely to be helpful to less educated U.S.-born and legal immigrant workers whose wages may rise as a result. You guys can call me a little bit authoritarian, call me extreme. I'm not sure, whatever you want to call me, guys. We're at a point, guys, the year is 2025. We voted for President Trump. He's back in the White House. Deportations are underway. Self-deportations are big time underway. Here's my thing, okay? If you are an American employer, if you're an American business owner, and you are still knowingly, intentionally, deliberately hiring illegal aliens, you need to be punished. You can call me, oh, that's draconian. You're a right-wing extremist. Yeah, maybe I am. I don't care. If you're an American employer and you are still at this point in 2025 hiring illegal aliens, you need to pay a fine. If you're doing it too much, I don't know, you go to jail. Listen, go to jail. We have to shut down this problem. We have to do something about this. That's how I feel. Let's keep on reading here. Further, a tighter labor market and higher wages may help draw back into jobs the near record number of working-age American men without a college degree that are currently not in the labor force. Now, this is like economics. Who here has taken an economics 101 class? I don't know, maybe you had something like this in high school or university at some point. So labor is a resource. If you flood the nation with low-skill, low-wage, illegal alien labor, if you flood the labor market with tens of millions of illegal alien, low-skill, low-wage laborers, what happens? Cause and effect, wages go down. So if you're wondering why wages have continued to go down, why the standard of living in this country has continued to go down for decades, do you think it might have something to do with the 50 million cheap third world laborers that have invaded our country in the last 40 or 50 years? Yeah. Obviously, that's probably the single biggest factor. Let's be honest about this. Let's have an adult conversation here. Let's keep on reading here. Reducing the overall illegal alien population has been an uphill battle for the Trump administration, mainly because former President Joe Biden's administration is estimated to have imported some 8 million migrants. 8 million? Why don't we multiply that by 2? No, why don't we multiply that number by 3? Okay, 8 million? Let's call it 24 million, and then we can have the end of the conversation. Many of whom are illegal, all of whom were illegal, into the United States in just 4 years. A record-breaking level of illegal immigration never before seen in American history. Listen, I know a lot of people say this. Joe Biden was recently in the White House. It's kind of topical. It's kind of timely. But listen, for anybody that has really read through a lot of American history, who here is a student of American history, you really know about a lot of the presidencies we've had over the last almost 250 years now. Joe Biden is the single worst president this country has ever had. Okay, there are some other presidents I'm not big fans of. Wilson, I'm not a big fan of. There are some others, right? But man, Joe Biden, this guy was the worst. This was the single worst, most negatively, most catastrophically consequential presidential administration in our entire country's history. And that is saying a lot because we have had some bad presidents throughout the last 250 years. Now, real quick, folks, I see a massive super chat here in the YouTube chat. I want to say here, Derek Rogers, he says, this is $50. He says, can we look at India, people? And you know, I am doing what I'm doing, Rafflecopter. Well, I'm not really sure exactly what you mean. President Trump is, this is kind of tangentially related here, but going from 2025 into 2026, President Trump himself decreased the number of H-1B visas going out by 25% going into 2026. Almost all of those H-1B visas are going to people from India, Indians. So maybe that's kind of related to what you're saying, but hey, I appreciate that. So we're going to have fewer H-1B Indian workers coming in the country in 2026. That's a good thing. You guys know I'm not a big fan of the H-1B visa. These are jobs that should be going to Americans. We have the Americans to do these jobs. So thank you very much. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you. Now, listen, guys, needless to say, this is a big deal. We're just getting going. In fact, speaking of just getting going, I want to show you guys something else here. And I think you guys are going to like this. This is news that broke today. This is actually a big deal. Pay attention. Check this out. Over 100,000 Americans have rushed to join President Trump's massive ICE hiring spree nationwide. This is new data coming out of the DHS, the Department of Homeland Services. The DHS, or Homeland Security, the DHS reports massive response to the recruitment drive that is still ongoing. They're only trying to hire 10,000 new ICE agents, but they've had over 100,000 applicants. By the way, this recruitment drive for ICE, this has only been going on for 5 weeks now after we passed the big, beautiful bill. We're going to talk about why, but this drive is only 5 weeks old. In the last 5 weeks, 100,000 Americans have tried to join ICE. That is insane. Now, real quick, let's read through this and talk about this. More than 100,000 Americans have applied for roles within the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, since the organization began a recruitment drive at the end of last month. The Department of Homeland Security told Fox News Digital earlier today, President Donald Trump's administration launched a drive to hire 10,000 additional ICE agents at the end of July. So it's only been 5 weeks. Well, actually, no. I'm sorry. It's been maybe 2.5 or 3 weeks. They're offering incentives to candidates and removing certain limits on who can apply. They want people to join. The total number of applicants has now eclipsed over 100,000 Americans in barely 2 weeks. There you have it. The agency had received 80,000 applicants as of August 6th. Today is August 12th. Listen, guys, Americans are rising up. Americans have had enough. We're sick. We're closing down the border. We closed the border down. We know that's the case. 0 border crossings in 3 months. Now it is time to get these invaders out of the country. Every single one of them has got to go. Okay? Not just the ones with criminal warrants or, they're murderers and all types of stuff. All of them, every single one of them. Doesn't matter how, listen, you call me an extremist, I don't care. If you're a 87-year-old illegal alien grandma who has been living illegally in this country for 50 years, you came in 50 years ago, guess what? You gotta go. Adios, abuela. Okay? You've been violating our immigration law for 50 years. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how long you've been here. You need to go. This is what we voted for. Every single one of them. Let's make it happen. That is what is happening. Let's go. They said, our country is calling you to serve at ICE. In the wake of the Biden administration's failed immigration policies, your country needs dedicated men and women of ICE to get the worst of the worst criminals out of the country. Goodbye, adios. This was said by DHS Secretary Kristi Noem just the other day. This is a defining moment in our nation's history. Your skills, your experience, and your courage have never been more essential. Together, we must defend our homeland. Thank God. God bless the United States of America. Get them out of here. Now, before we keep reading this article, because we're about halfway through this, I want to give you guys a little bit of some historical information. Okay, we're talking about these deportation numbers. I want to double back here real quick. 1.6 million are gone. Now, it is true. We know for a fact, this is a fact, that the Trump team, the Trump administration has actually only forcibly deported around 70,000 illegal aliens in the last 6 or 7 months. Okay, and so people are looking at the deportation numbers, 70,000, what? That's nothing. Oh my God, we need to get more of them out than that. We've got 50 million. 70,000 deportations in 6 months, that's nothing. And you know what? Listen, I can understand how you might feel that way if you don't have an entire comprehensive grasp of the situation. Let me give you guys a little bit of a history lesson. In the 1920s, the US government carried out an operation. It was called the Mexican Repatriation Program. This was during the Great Depression, and Americans were pissed off that a bunch of illegal aliens from Latin America, predominantly Mexico, were taking American jobs during the Great Depression. Rightfully so. They're not supposed to be here. So, in the 1920s and early 1930s, there was a massive initiative to deport all of these people. Okay, hold that thought. Another massive deportation effort was in 1954. It was called, pardon my language, this is what it's called, Operation Wetback in 1954. Now, these are the biggest two most recent massive remigration deportation programs that we have seen in the 20th century. Now, President Trump is doing something similar, but let me explain why I'm giving you guys this history lesson. What we saw during the Mexican repatriation program of the 1920s and the early 1930s, and what we saw during 1954 during Operation Wetback, was that for every one illegal alien that was forcibly deported, they were apprehended, detained, deported, 10 illegal aliens self-deported. The ratio was 1 to 10, 1 to 10. One forced deportation, 10 self-deportations. And the reason why, it's not exactly hard to understand. If you make America incredibly hostile and maybe dangerous and not financially lucrative for illegal aliens, they just kind of leave. They just leave. They see themselves out, because why did they come here in the first place? To make money. They wanted to increase their standard of life. They wanted to make more money. A lot of them are sending money back to their family or relatives in their country of origin. And so if you cut these people off from the job force, if you make it prohibitive to hire them and for them to get hired, if they can't have jobs, they can't make money. If you cut them off of taxpayer-funded benefits and entitlements like Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, and food assistance, etc., if you make them live in an environment of fear, as bad as that sounds, that's what it is, and it's good. They should be in an environment of fear if they are here illegally in this country. And what I mean by this is that if they go to work or if they leave their house, if they go to the grocery store, they're worried that Donald Trump's ICE officers are going to kick in the door, apprehend them, and deport them by force. And so now you remember that Donald Trump actually created an app, a smartphone app, 4 or 5 months ago called the CBP Deportation app, which facilitated the legal self-deportation of these people. He also bought them a plane ticket and gave them a $1,000 travel stipend. So he was incentivizing them. He was effectively paying them to leave the country. A lot of them have taken President Trump up on that offer. So once again, now, like I said, in the 20s and in the 50s, we saw a rate of 1 deportation to 10 self-deportations. That's well documented. Now, guys, we're seeing a rate of like 1 deportation to 15 or 16 self-deportations. There is a mass exodus. These people are seeing themselves out because the U.S. is a hostile place for them to be right now. They're not getting hired. They're having ICE raid their house and raid their workplace. You know, they're cut off from taxpayer-funded entitlements, like I said. So they're going home, and it makes total sense. And we've seen this before. Like I said, in the 20s and early 30s and in the 50s. So this is to anybody that is historically literate, that has followed the history of American remigration and deportation programs. This is actually going totally as expected and actually better than expected. Let's keep reading this article. All ICE law enforcement recruits will be forced to go through medical screening, drug screening, and complete a physical fitness test, the agency has clarified. Now, check this out, guys. Up until the passing of the Big Beautiful Bill and this massive ICE hiring endeavor that we're talking about right now, guess how many ICE officers we had, boots on the ground in the country, up until about a month ago? I'll tell you, the number is shockingly low. 4,500. Up until about a month ago, we only had 4,500 ICE officer agents boots on the ground. That's nothing. Do you know how many illegal aliens we have in this country? Do you know how big the country is? We got 50 states. They're combating sanctuary city policies. We had less than 5,000. We had 4,500 of these guys. We need more. If you want more deportations, we need more of them. This is why I was championing the Big Beautiful Bill. You might remember a month and a half ago, I was like, guys, we got to pass this bill. Why? Okay, the bill wasn't perfect, but the big thing the bill did, it granted the Trump administration a budget to hire another 10,000 ICE officers, another 3,000 DHS agents, another 3 or 4 or 5,000 border security officers. So if you, in all, this bill accommodated the hiring of, to be clear, 21,000 immigration officers, 10,000 ICE. So it's a bunch of things, but really this bill, the budget in this bill, it increases the number of boots on the ground ICE agents we have across the country by over 300%. That's massive. If you want more deportations, like I said, we're just getting going. Now, ICE is seeking to entice more applicants with a signing up bonus, a sign-on bonus of up to $50,000 and options to repay or forgive student loans and other benefits. You can understand why in the last 3 weeks, 100,000 Americans have tried to get this job. Okay? This is, first off, it's just a good paying job. I think it pays $80-something thousand a year, up to a $50,000 sign-on bonus. And if you have student loan or debt, they'll grant you loan forgiveness. This is like, hello, duh. This is one of the greatest offers ever. Okay, let's keep reading. Kristi Noem said, I'm sorry, no, this is the acting ICE director, Todd Lyons. He said, your country is calling on you to serve at ICE and to defend your homeland. And that's what it is, because our country has been what? Our country has been invaded. That's the truth. In the wake of the Biden administration's open border policies, the dedicated men and women of ICE now face unprecedented challenges in removing millions of criminal illegal aliens from our country. Thanks to the One Big Beautiful Bill, there it is, we now have the funding to recruit and to hire Americans who want to patriotically serve their country and protect American communities. Guys, how deplorable, how sickening is it that this entire situation even manifested in the first place? How many Americans had to die at the hands of a violent criminal illegal alien? How many Americans had to lose their life to fentanyl overdose, fentanyl poisoning? Something was laced with fentanyl. How many children had to be trafficked? How many women had to be trafficked across the southern border, all up and down, North America, South America, because of what Joe Biden and the Democrats did? The damage, the amount of bloodshed and lives lost and human trafficking, it's just sickening. And now finally, thank God, we're solving this problem. Let's keep reading here. The recruitment drive comes amid what has been at least, wow, an 830% increase in assaults on ICE agents amid riots and protests throughout the entire country, according to DHS data. 830% increase in assaults on ICE agents. Listen, some of these people that are doing this, the only thing that they understand, I hate to say this, really I do, but this is just the truth. A lot of these people are just animals. The only thing that they are going to respond to, these people that are assaulting ICE officers, the only thing that they are going to respond to is force and punishment. Okay? We got to crack down on these people hard. If you assault an ICE officer, I don't know. Hey, I don't know what that punishment should be, but it should be severe. It should be harsh. Okay, these are people that are putting their lives on the line to save our country, to literally repel a foreign illegal alien invasion. And these people are assaulting those people, those brave Americans. We got to do something about it. Okay, Noem said last week that number has since spiked up to a 1,000% increase in assaults on ICE officers. ICE's recruitment website highlights 3 key roles: deportation officer, criminal investigator, and general attorney. But there are a variety of listings on the federal government's job site that it links back to. They're taking everybody. Listen, we got a lot of jobs in ICE. The site also lists how dangerous is the work as a frequently asked question. I bet that is a frequently asked question. And frankly, the job is a little bit dangerous. Maybe you could even say it's a lot dangerous. Kristi Noem said there's a 1,000% increase in assaults on ICE officers. Listen, our country's been invaded. It's undeniable. Listen, if anybody was under the delusion that our country has not been invaded, think back to what happened in Los Angeles 2.5 months ago. We had thousands, tens of thousands across the entire country of foreign nationals burning American flags, defacing American property, blowing up automobiles and vehicles in the streets of America, assaulting police officers, ICE agents, and National Guardsmen, and waving the Mexican flag, waving foreign flags while marching through the streets of America. Let the record show, yes, we have been invaded and it's going to be tough to solve the problem, but nonetheless, we have to solve the problem. We have got to solve the problem. And thank God, we are now solving the problem. Is it going to be easy? No. Is it going to be hard? Yes. Is it worth doing? Absolutely. We got to take the country back. Can you imagine, guys, we said this about a half hour ago, 25 million illegal aliens invaded this country during the 4-year-long Biden administration. Can you imagine if Kamala Harris had won the recent election? Can you imagine if Kamala Harris had won that and then she ended up becoming an 8-year-long president? Can you imagine what this country would look like after 4 years of Biden and 8 years of Kamala Harris? We wouldn't have a country, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, be clear. The republic would be done. The republic would be toast. Any type of America first, any type of conservative, patriotic political movement like we have now, it would never happen again. And why? Because we wouldn't have the demographics for it. We would be people like us that actually care about this country. We are patriotic, red, white, and blue Americans. We would be such an extreme minority in this country that it would be too late. The country would be gone. We would have, right now, we have 50 million illegal aliens in the country. I don't know. We might have 150 million in the country by the time 8 years of Kamala Harris had come and gone. At that point, I mean, it's dead. The country's dead. The republic is gone. So once again, thank God that is not the case. Thank God we're turning this around. She said, ICE law enforcement officers should expect a certain level of risk when performing their duties. However, they are expertly trained in every precaution, and every precaution is taken by ICE when it comes to protecting its officers' well-being. The website states, I want to say if you join ICE, you've got to go through a 3-month training program or something like that. I'm sure somebody can correct me, get the information out there. But no, they're training these guys. They're not just letting you loose. There's training. There's protocols. Good. They're obviously equipping these guys properly. Thank God for that. And so, folks, here really is the main takeaway of today's show. Once again, I want to say, if you guys are here tuning in on Rumble, look at that. We have 7,700 viewers on Rumble, almost 4,000 viewers over here on YouTube. Everybody, Matt Morris TV Rumble, Matt Morris TV YouTube. We're on X. Everybody, Matt Morris TV on X. I appreciate the support, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure to subscribe and like everything that you see. I appreciate that. Here's the real takeaway. Right now, as we've seen, the Democrats are losing everything. Their national popularity and approval ratings are at the lowest they have ever been in recorded U.S. history. American citizens, they do not like the Democrat Party. Their approval rating is cratering out. It's catastrophically low. And now, like what's happening here in Texas, they're losing seats in the U.S. House of Representatives. And I think that's not the end of the story either, because the Supreme Court is going to take a look here pretty soon. We've talked about this a lot. The Supreme Court soon, in the next couple months, they said by the end of the year, it's August, by the end of the year, the Supreme Court is going to take a look at the constitutionality as it pertains to the 14th and 15th Amendment of racially gerrymandered voting districts. Well, as it would turn out, the Democrats have been racially gerrymandering their voting districts all across the nation for decades now, ever since 1965. And so experts are saying if the Supreme Court overturns the racial gerrymandering voting, dynamic here, then the Democrats are set to lose up to another 20 seats in the U.S. House of Representatives. That's a fatal blow. And now Texas has just gotten rid of 5 of these seats for the Democrats. You've got states like Florida and others as well that are looking to follow suit. The Democrats are facing existential crisis, and you know what? Thank God for that. Thank God for that. Now, on top of that, hundreds of thousands of illegal aliens are leaving the country each month. Do the math. If we've had 1.6 million illegal aliens get out of the country in the last 6 months, divide that out, hundreds of thousands per month are leaving the country. And I mean, you're already noticing it Who here has gone to Costco or to Sam's Club or to the pharmacy, or you've gone to your local park? You go to the dog park. You're going on a hiking trail, maybe. You go, I don't know, you're driving down the freeway. You live in Los Angeles. You're driving down the freeway. You're noticing there's fewer people. You're seeing fewer people on the hiking trails. You're seeing fewer people at the park. You're seeing fewer people at Costco. You can already tell that it's happening, and it feels good. We are getting the country back. It's obvious. You can feel it. You notice it, okay? You're seeing fewer people. You know, you can kind of tell there's not as many. Hundreds of thousands are leaving per month. Mission successful. And like I said, it's only getting going. Okay, we just got a huge budget increase for all of these operations with the big, beautiful bill about a month ago, 5 weeks ago. And so really, genuinely and sincerely, we are putting an end to the invasion of illegal aliens, and we are actually taking the country back. The Democrats are going to have to figure out a new plan because whatever the hell they're doing is not working. And, you know, I've said this before, but I don't really revel in the insanity of the Democrat Party. I'm not happy that they have become, you know, radically, progressively, incompetently insane. I think it would be the best possible option for our republic is that we have a coherent, intelligent, effective conservative party, and that we also have, you know, a coherent, intelligent Democrat Party that represents the will of some Americans, at least. Right now, the Democrat Party, the reason why their approval rating is 19% per the Quinnipiac poll that we talked about is because they don't represent Americans. They've become the party of illegal aliens. And that's why Americans don't like them anymore. So we're flipping this around. Things are looking up. And like I said, we're only, 7 months into this administration, so things are going to keep on getting better. I hope we can pray. Now, folks, I got to say that I think that's going to be a wrap for today's broadcast. I just had to go live today, and I had to share the great news with you guys because all of this is looking good. Total Democratic fallout. They're cratering out. 1.6 million illegal aliens gone. 3 months in a row of zero border crossings. We are just getting going. We're picking up the steam. We're picking up speed. So, folks, thank you very much for tuning in today. I appreciate it really more than you know. I really do appreciate it, everybody. Thank you very much. Please make sure to subscribe on YouTube. Please make sure to subscribe on Rumble. Shout out the Rumble guys. Shout out the YouTube guys. I've got the chat over here and the chat over there. Thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. I will be back every day. Pretty much every day. I'm here at 7 p.m. Eastern on both Rumble and YouTube. That's 4 p.m. Western. I'm over here on the West Coast. I'll see you guys tomorrow, hopefully with some more good news. Thank you. And until then, everybody have a good Tuesday night and a great Wednesday morning. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you all very much. And of course, as